let's talk about DeSantis now, because you were saying, he went to Harvard or whatever. I think he did double Harvard. In any event, he was in the military too. And he's from Florida, right? Like, I think he's born and raised Florida. So this is not a guy who's like, he's not from, like, forgive me because I'm in Connecticut. He's not from Connecticut. Like my kids will be. He doesn't sound like an elitist snob. Yes, he's always in a suit, but there's something a little bit like disheveled about him. I don't know, like in an endearing way. He doesn't like look like a Mitt Romney who's like perfectly coiffed all the time where you're like, or even Dr. Oz, right? So you tell me, having spent all this time with him, Moynihan, like what's the magic? Like when you observed him, how do you describe the magic?
Well, the first thing is, I think people make a mistake about, I kind of sometimes do it too, and it's easy to kind of slip into that, is that if you went to Harvard, if you went to Yale, it doesn't make you, and you actually can use the word in a pejorative way and call people elitists. I mean, remember, the person who was, a quote unquote traitor to his class was FDR, one of the kind of richest men in the country from a pretty illustrious family, and became the kind of avatar of the working class during the Depression in the 30s and the 40s. So I don't think it's difficult to do that, provided you actually don't act like it and you actually really try to understand and try to focus on the needs of working class people. But, I think the thing that people misunderstand is that they spend a long time comparing DeSantis to Donald Trump, as a stage presence, which is the wrong comparison. I'll tell you what to do. You watch him, and there's always opening acts, right? You see him, and there's going to be local people. There's going to be people in the state Senate. None of them are very good. I mean, there's some of them are smart people. Some of them are interesting. And DeSantis goes up there and just, blows the house down because he gets what, the applause lines he understands. Trump would work out an applause line and make it policy. He would say, build the wall, and be like, until we find out what's really happening. And he was like, oh, that was a good one. And like literally advisors, people said this in books that like he would then make that policy. It's much more, applauded with DeSantis, who understands the issues that voters care about. And you notice at the end of this, by the way, that the cheers you get, which is really something else for COVID stuff, where, you understand at the end of this who won the COVID debate. Because who took an opposite position of Florida and Ron DeSantis is running on COVID. Zero. Yeah. You're not going to get a single person. Right. No Gavin Newsoms of the world at the French Laundry, violating their own mandates. And no one is doing that. Ron DeSantis is, because he actually has a pretty solid case. And so when he goes out there, he has a very, very good mix of kind of culture war stuff, but applies it pretty specifically to the state, right? But forward-looking, we want to stop it here as the kind of, to borrow from FDR, this is the kind of laboratory of democracy in Florida, and we're going to push this out. But it's really interesting to see the applause lines that are actually, here are things that I did. Not, good lines, not funny bits. He does a little funny bit about Joe Biden and the rest of it. But the stuff that people go really crazy about is like, yeah, I know you did that. That's why I live here. And that's why Florida is a great free state. So it was really interesting to watch people respond, because I'm always watching people respond to like a good speech. This is someone saying, here are my achievements, and people are really excited about it.
I think that there's a misperception that, or an underratedness, let's say, of COVID. If you look at the exit polls that came out, I think today, asking people what's their most important issue or what issue they think is most important in the country, which are two different questions. And COVID is like 2%. It's not there. Yeah. But Michael Brennan Doherty, I think, makes a pretty good case over at National Review that the issues that people do care about a lot right now are like directly downstream from COVID. Yeah, it's inflation. All COVID-related, yeah. We threw a ton of money into the system right then, and also before then, to be honest, both Biden and Trump. But we threw a ton of money, unprecedented amount, and it led directly to inflation. Crime, right? That all, like the summer of 2020, it just shot up in a whole bunch of cities directly. Education, which is animating a lot of people. So all of those come from there. DeSantis was not anything like a nationally viable politician 4 years ago.
No.
Barely beat a guy who was showing up in weird situations in a hotel room.
Literally on drugs.
Beat him by half a percentage point.
Prostitutes.
The thing that changed was the way that he managed COVID. And this also helped Brian Kemp in Georgia. Yeah. It helped Jared Polis in Colorado in a very strong way. So I think that that issue has more salience than people are giving credit for. Yes, abortion was a much bigger issue, I think, than people realized before this election day. But COVID lasts, and people remember the stuff that people are mad about right now, that I'm mad about right now, living in New York, and it motivated my vote here is COVID-related policies. So I think that's a strong base to build. It's not going to evaporate because people are going to remember and apply it in different ways to their lives, even if they don't name it as their top mind issue right now.
I've never been able to compost before. I didn't even know what it was. It was always too complicated, too much work, and sounded like only something some far lefty in San Francisco would do. Wrong. It's actually fun and something your whole family's going to enjoy thanks to Lomi. Lomi allows you to turn your food scraps into dirt with the push of a button, and it makes you feel like a better person. Lomi is a countertop electric composter that turns scraps into dirt in under 4 hours. There's no smell when it runs. There's no sound, really. It's super quiet. And thanks to Lomi, I now have way less garbage each week. Instead, I turn this waste into nutrient-rich dirt that I can then feed to my plants, completing the life circle. Now I'm composting and creating soil instead of waste. I have a basically limitless supply of dirt from my garden, and if you would like to join me in this endeavor and start making a positive environmental impact, fun for the whole family, or if you just want to make cleanup after dinner that much easier, Lomi is perfect for you. Head to lomi.com/MK. lomi.com/MK. Use the promo code MK to get $50 off your Lomi. That's $50 off when you head to lomi.com/MK and use that promo code MK at checkout. Food waste is gross. Lomi is your solution. With the holidays just around the corner, Lomi will also make the perfect gift for someone on your shopping list. lomi.com/MK. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.